Hello everyone, welcome back. One of my viewers asked me to do a video on reloading, okay? They were interested in getting into it and they wanted some advice on where to start. So when we're talking about reloading here, we're talking about reloading ammunition, not reloading, a fresh magazine into your gun. So with reloading, we're taking the spent case, right? We're gonna punch out the primer. We're gonna put in a fresh primer, fresh gunpowder, a new bullet, right? So that we can shoot this again. The reason for this is because the brass case tends to be the more expensive part of the cartridge. Okay, so when it comes to where to start, okay, there's three concerns, right? One is taking the budget route, right? That's one route that you can take. The other way is to go for precision loading, right? So this is really something that like competition shooters are interested in, where they want to reload the most consistent ammunition for competition purposes. And the other one is like high volume reloading, okay, where you have like a multi-stage press. So if you're just getting into it, right, I'm going to definitely recommend that you get a budget. You start off budget, okay? Now, let me tell you guys, I am a certified reloading instructor, okay? The last time I taught a class was something like maybe 6 years ago. The last time I actually reloaded was about maybe 4 or 5 years ago, okay? So I haven't done this in a while. The reason is because I have found that, hey, it's a lot more fun to shoot than sit here all day pulling this lever back and forth, okay? And we're gonna come back around to this, right? But I just wanted to let you guys know what my background is as far as reloading. And yeah, I am a certified instructor, so I'm not just pulling this stuff out of my ass, okay? Now the reason why I first became interested in reloading was because I really wanted to understand how the ammunition works. I just wanted to understand, like I wanted to become the professor of guns, basically. So the best way to like really learn something is to learn it so well that you achieve instructor level. Okay, so that's the reason why I became a reloading instructor, because I wanted to make sure that I understood it so well that I was actually certified to teach it. Okay, so that's a good reason to learn to reload, right? The reason why I got into it, primarily just to understand it for myself. Okay, so if you're thinking about getting into this, I definitely 100% recommend that you go the budget route. Okay, so I recommend that you get the Lee starter kit. Okay, and it comes with the press. It's going to come with powder thrower. Okay, and it's going to come with a scale, right, so that you can measure the powder that is going to go into each case. Okay, so that's where I recommend that you start off with. So this is going to be, when I bought it, it was like $100. Now I looked it up. Brownells has it for about $150. Start there. That's not going to be enough. That's a good starting point, because you're also going to need the dies. Okay, and I'm going to talk to you about the dies in a second. You're going to need the dies. When I got these were about $30 each. They're probably up to $50 now. Okay, so each caliber has its own die. Okay, even if you go like from 38 special to 357, which are similar, yeah, it's recommended that you use separate dies. Okay, so you're gonna need the dies. So that's gonna be like $30. You're gonna need these trays to hold the cartridges, and the nice thing about this is it has like this is like a multi-caliber. Okay, this will hold a whole bunch of different calibers. So you're gonna need a tray like this. It's recommended that you get a book like this that covers all the calibers. It basically has like tables, so for each caliber, each bullet type that you can look up. Now the dies usually come with their own charts, right? But I like being able to cross-reference. Okay, now when it comes to reloading, one of the things that we generally tell people, even though it may not be like 100% accurate, it gets the idea across, right? That if you increase the powder charge by 1%, okay, you're getting like a 10% increase in pressure, okay? So a small increase in powder yields a very big increase in pressure, and that's really to get the point across that if you overload it, it's very easy to create a dangerous situation where you basically blow the gun up. And there was actually a situation right here in this area where I'm at in PA about maybe 2 years ago, where at one of the game land ranges, somebody actually injured themselves very seriously with reloaded ammunition that was not done correctly. Okay, so when we're talking reloading, this is like serious stuff. When you're sitting down to reload, you don't want to be like distracted, right? You don't want to be having conversations. The easiest mistake that you can make while reloading, right, is you kind of lose your place and like you pull the lever twice, okay, and you throw in a double charge, okay, and it might be because, okay, you were reloading, the phone rang, you went and had a conversation, you came back, you didn't look where you were, and you pulled it again on the same case. Now you got a double charge in there, and yeah, now you're gonna blow yourself up. Okay, so really serious stuff here when we're talking about reloading. Okay, so I wanted to give you guys the general overall idea. A good place to start, like I said, is start budget. Start with the $150, right? If you, and it's going to be a little bit slower. If you want faster, right? They have what they call the multi-stage presses. Okay, so with the multi-stage press, because with this, every time I pull this, I'm doing like basically I'm affecting just one case. With the multi-stage press, you're gonna have like 4 cases that fit in there, and every time you pull this, there's an action that occurs on 4 cases, so it's like 4 times faster. The thing with the multi-stage presses is, unless you're spending big money, because they got like, remember this we said was about $150 for this kit. If you get the $500 one, which is on the cheap end, you're going to keep having jamming problems, and it's going to end up slowing you down even more. You pretty much have to go with the, $1,500 one, $2,000 one, in order for it to not consistently jam up, or jam up very frequently. Okay, so that's the thing with the multi-stage presses. You pretty much have to go really expensive, because if you go budget on the multi-stage press, it's going to frustrate the shit out of you. You're going to end up taking more time than if you were just working with a single stage press where you're just doing one cartridge at a time. Okay. Now, the other aspect of this is people that want to do precision shooting. Okay, because if you like doing competitions and stuff like that, where you're trying to get the tightest group possible, you pretty much have to buy match grade ammunition, right? So the thing with match grade ammunition, they load it so that the powder charge from one case to the next is very consistent, and you can consistently get nice tight groups. That tends to be really expensive, right? So just to give you an example, like if you're buying like the typical Target 223 will cost you, let's say, I don't know, let's say $10 for a box of 20 rounds, okay? But if you get match grade, right, now you're up to like $35 for a box of 20 rounds, okay? So when you buy match grade ammunition, it gets expensive. So precision, people that do competition reload to save money, okay? And I'll tell you guys right now, if you're shooting 9mm 223, the common stuff, right? That 45 ACP, you're not going to save any money reloading. Okay, you're not. When I was doing my reloading, the only things I would reload are like 357, 44 Magnum, right? Stuff that's usually like $50 for a box of 50 rounds, something like that, right? So I would only reload expensive stuff. Never nine. I mean, I actually did it once just to do it, to learn it, to practice it. So, but generally, I don't reload 9mm. I don't reload 223. It's cheaper, definitely 100% cheaper to buy it. Okay, unless you're doing it for precision shooting, where you're going to be buying match grade ammunition. Okay, now it's worth considering reloading, right, to save money there. But you're not going to be able to do it with the $150 kit, right? Now you have to buy equipment that's really intended for precision reloading. So this type of a thrower here, which is cheap, is okay for target shooting. It's not going to be consistent enough for precision shooting, right? Where like, what they have is like a little trickler, right? So they turn it and the powder actually goes into a scale, and they're weighing uh, each and every load that they're putting into each case one by one. So it is an extreme. It's not meant to be fast. It's meant to be super slow and super precise. Okay, so that's precision reloading. So it's like at the far opposite extreme of volume reloading. So in the middle you've got the budget, which is what I have here. Okay. On the other, on one side, you've got the precision, which is a lot slower than this. Okay, but you get really precise loads, right? And on the other extreme is where you have a multi-stage, which is fast, right? But like really expensive, and it's definitely not going to be as precise as if you use a precision loading equipment. Okay, so let's. That's the overall idea. So these are the things that you're gonna need. So there's a couple things I want to talk about here that I put on the list. Okay, with regards to reloading. So the first one I covered. A good reason to get into reloading, right, is to just learn ammunition, right? Understand like how this stuff works, how the reloading is done. And we talked about all the equipment here. Oh, one of the things I wanted to talk about is the dies, because like I said, each one of these. Each cartridge that you're going to want to reload is going to come with its own die that's going to fit in the press here. So I just pulled out here, let's say 38 special. So this is actually an important thing I needed to demonstrate to you guys. So in here you're going to have, it's going to come with this chart, all right, and this chart's going to tell you, all right, for this weight bullet, okay, these are the powders that you can use, and it will tell you that, okay, this is the minimal power, this is the maximum powder weight. It's my weight that you can use. This is the primers that you should use for that, right? It's going to tell you, like, when you press it, how deep the bullet needs to go, and you're going to need calipers. So again, this is also not included in the kit. You're going to buy this separate. So it's going to tell you how deep to seed it, okay? So it's going to have this instruction here to follow. So in your kit, you're going to have usually 3 dies, sometimes 4 dies. So this first die is basically to punch out the primers and to reform the case. Okay, so the way I'll do this is I'll fill up a tray, which is again also not included with the kit. You buy this separate. They're not that expensive, like maybe $15. You fill up this tray here with the cases, right? This is the universal one that fits almost all the cases. You're going to fill this up. It'll hold 50 cases, and I'm going to go through all 50 cases, right, with the die in the press that punches out the primers, right? It's got that spike at the end, and reforms the case, right? The reason why it reforms the case is because when you fire it, it expands to the chamber, okay? And if you don't reform it, it'll still fit into that chamber, but it may not fit in other chambers. So in order to maintain the ability to shoot it in multiple guns, you're going to use this die here. It does it anyway. You're going to punch out your primer, and you're going to reform the case. Okay. So the next thing you're going to, after you do all 50 cases, you're going to go to this next one over here. And what this one does is it opens up, basically it opens up the mouth when you go in one direction, and when you go in the other direction, what it does is it puts in a fresh primer. Okay, so the bottom over here, it puts in the new primer. Okay, so you're gonna do that with this die over here. It's gonna open up the mouth so that it will accept the bullet. Because if you don't open up the mouth of the case, what's going to happen is when you go shoot the bullet, it's just going to get crushed. Okay, so you need this die here, and if you notice, it has a hole that goes all the way through. You could use a funnel to reload each case individually using this as well. Okay. The kit will also have, forgot to mention it, it will have this thing that sits in the bottom of your press, because the base of each cartridge is a different size, right? So the 9mm is going to be different from your 44 Magnum. So that holds it in place. So that's going to be in your kit, right? And then when you get to once you do that, you're going to use the floor. Let me put this down for a second. So we're going to use our scale over here to figure out what the correct throw is, right? So we're gonna look in the book, see what the amount is, and then in this throw hit thing here, okay, you basically turn this as you adjust this. That basically adjusts how much is dropped. So there's a process where you're gonna go through this a couple of times. You're gonna drop it into this little tray here. You're gonna weigh it, and you're gonna keep doing this and adjusting until you get to exactly the correct throw that the book tells you. Okay, so that's how you're gonna use the scale. So once you get this, so it's dropping the same throw every time, right? Then you're gonna go to your final die over here. Put this one in the press, right? Put the bullet in there, press, and then you adjust the top here to adjust the length, the depth. There's a little trial and error involved. Once you get it to the right level, right? There's two sets here. The top one, I forget which one it is, but one of these presses the bullet down. The other one crimps it. It tightens it up. A little trial and error to get this correct. You're going to use the calipers to make sure you have it at the right depth, right? And now your cartridge is ready. Okay. So that's what the dies do. Okay. So that's for each cartridge that you want to reload, you're going to have a separate set of dies. Put this here. Okay. So let's now that you guys have some idea of what's involved with reloading, okay, let's go through a couple of things here that I think you guys should be aware of. Number one, why you want to do this? First of all, just to learn the ammunition, to learn reloading, to like fully immerse yourself in the gun culture. Okay. Number two, okay, save on expensive ammunition. Okay, so I did it on 44 Magnums, 454 Casull, my 500 Smith & Wesson. Okay, that stuff is expensive. That stuff I would reload. Okay. I'm not going to do it with 9mm. I'm not going to do it with 223. Okay. So unless you're buying like match grade 223, right? Yeah, then it would make sense to reload it. Okay. Number three. Equipment. I already talked about the equipment. What you gotta do is, depending on what your goals are, right? If you want to do volume reloading, you're gonna have to spend a lot more money for a press, for a system that works good for volume reloading. If you want to do precision shooting, right, you're gonna have to spend a lot more money on equipment designed to like give you like really accurate, consistent throws. You're still gonna be accurate and consistent with this, but it's not gonna be at like at competition level. Okay. I want to talk to you guys about storage for a second. Okay. Because one of the things that you guys need to be aware of, okay, is over here, right, in this box, I got 1,000 rounds of 9mm, okay, nice and compact over here, okay. So here, I have some bullets, okay. This box here is only 500. It's only 500 bullets heads, okay. So that's 500 there. Over here, I got 1,000 primers, okay, and over here I got 1,000 cases, okay, and over here I have the powder, okay, for what I think might load. It might come up just a little bit short, but it's pretty close to reloading 1,000 rounds, okay, of 9mm, not even 223, 9mm, okay. So when it comes to storage, right? 1,000 rounds right here, ready to go, right, in this box. Nice and compact, factory packaged. Look at the space here, right? For 1,000 rounds, you can see that this takes up a lot more space than that. Okay, so, and then plus you've got the equipment here, right? Plus you've got the dies. So you can see how what 1,000 rounds look over here versus all the crap that I would need on the rest of the table here to reload 1,000 rounds. Okay, so there's an issue of space here, right? If just be aware that reloading takes up a lot of space. Okay, so next thing I want to talk about, kind of jumping off of this, is SHTF, right? Because a lot of people say that they want to learn reloading so that when the shit hits the fan, Armageddon comes, the apocalypse comes, They want to have the ability to make their own ammunition, okay? And that is like really flawed, okay? I'm telling you guys, as somebody that's done this, it's not going to work that way, okay? So number one, the first issue that we got into is volume, okay? Even if we just look at the components of cases, primers and bullets and powder, this is taking up a lot more space than 1,000 rounds that's factory packaged over here ready to go, because this stuff over here is not as tight, as neatly packaged as, you know, versus what comes from the, you know, factory boxed ammunition, right? So the first thing you're going to run into is space, right? Because obviously you want to have more than 1,000 rounds for SHTF. Maybe you want to have 5,000 rounds, right? 10,000 rounds. Well, think of how much more space, right? If you consider what 1,000 rounds here versus there, at the very least you're taking up twice as much space, okay? So that's the first thing to be aware of for SHTF planning, okay? The next thing is equipment breakage, okay? So if this thing breaks, I'm shit out of luck, man. Unless I got another one as a backup, I'm done. I can't reload, right? Or if you know, one of my dies breaks, all right? And dies do break, especially the part that punches out the primers. That pin can sometimes break, okay? Because it's kind of like a firing pin almost. That can break. So if or your scale might break, right? Let's say your scale breaks. Yeah, you're shit out of luck, man. You can't reload no more, okay? Unless you can get it replaced, what are you gonna do? Versus if you got factory boxed ammunition, right? Let's say this falls into the lake or whatever. You know, you go and you get another box at your, you know, wherever you store the stuff, okay? So that's one of the issues that you can run into with SHTF planning. If reloading is part of it. If your reloading equipment breaks, right, or it's just one piece breaks, right, one cog in this clock breaks, the whole system's going to shut down and you're not going to be able to reload, okay? So that's something to consider. And the other thing you got to be aware of is it is extremely dangerous to mix powders, right? Because each powder, when you reload, has to be loaded specifically to a specific measure, okay? Different powders get different loads. So one of the things that might happen is, like, let's say you leave, especially if you're in a situation where you have a couple of people living with you, right? If somebody starts mixing your powders, man, because they don't know any better, or sometimes it might even be like your wife or something, right? She sees a bunch of these cases and they're all like whatever, only a quarter fill. She might get the bright idea that, hey, let me condense these a little bit and start, like, you know, putting different, you know, taking multiple powders and mixing into one. That is going to blow your ass up, okay? And that's one of the reasons why there was a number of times when I've got a call from a woman who, let's say her husband passed away, and she said, I got all this powder over here, you know, do you want it? I'm like, yeah, you know what, I'll come get it and dispose of it for you, but I can't use it, right? Because I don't know, like, once this stuff's been opened up and the seal's been broken, I don't know what happened to this, you know, because mixing different powders, you know, it will blow you up, man. Okay, so just one of the things to be aware of with powders, right? You know, you always want to keep it in its original container, okay? And pretty much, like, you know, you don't, if other people have access to it, you know, especially people that maybe you don't trust 100%, or even maybe your own kids, right? Because they're small and, you know, maybe they want to play scientist or something, right? Yeah, that can get you into a very dangerous situation, okay? So that's one of the things to be aware of with reloading for SHTF. Again, for SHTF, I want factory boxed ammunition that's ready to go, okay? Hey, I want to cut in real quick and talk about component shortages, okay? So this is like even during relatively normal times. I remember back in 2015, I couldn't find powder for like months, okay? I was having a great deal of difficulty. And in 2020, I didn't have any problem finding powder, but I couldn't find primers, okay? So the primers were out of stock everywhere. So pretty much you have to stockpile this stuff way in advance of when you would actually need it. So another reason why it just doesn't make sense for SHTF, you're better off just buying 1,000 round
1,000 round packages of ammunition and stockpiling that.
All right, so let's talk about, okay, time consuming, okay? This is extremely time consuming, okay? So I learned it, so I know how to do it. But yeah, you know what? I'd rather be shooting than sitting here pulling the lever all day, you know? I mean, it's just a very time consuming thing. And especially in an SHTF type of situation, how do you know you're gonna have time, right? And what if you need to move, right? It's a lot easier for me to grab 1,000 rounds of this package here than take all these loose components here and equipment and try to pack that stuff up. All right, so this is a lot easier to transport. Okay, so now for SHTF, forget it. No, you're not reloading. Have factory boxes ready. Ready packaged, like factory packaged. So if you need to move it, just grab it and you go. Okay. And lastly, one of the things that you will absolutely need, okay, is a chronograph, right? And I've done videos where I'm using the chronograph. And again, that's one of the most valuable things that came out of me learning to reload, learning to work with the chronograph, doing energy calculations, because that's really the best way for you to know is like this product that you've created, how good is it actually, right? So the best thing to do is like shoot it through a chronograph and get a reading. You know exactly what you have. You can tell how you do like shoot like 5 shots and see how consistent your velocities are from one to the other. And one of the good things for reloading for me is like I could reload and then immediately come here, right, just a couple of feet away from where the area where I'm reloading and test it out. Okay, so for most people, unless you're able to like reload and shoot on your own property, now you got to reload. And then you gotta wait maybe for a different day to go to the gun range so that you can test it out. So that's you're gonna have that issue. So reloading really is a lot more convenient if you're able to shoot on your own property or do the reloading at the same place where you're gonna be shooting the stuff. Okay. So a couple of things for you guys to think of, like 100%. If you don't know anything about reloading, start budget, right, and you know what. There's tons of videos out there that teach you reloading, but this is one of the things where I would say that you would benefit from taking a class from an instructor where you're actually going through the step together, right? Because there's just so many things that can go wrong. Like with shooting, right? There's 3 basic rules, right? You keep the gun in the safe direction, finger off trigger until you're ready to shoot. All guns are always loaded, right? You follow those three safety rules, and you're never going to have an accident with any guns, right? Guns are 100% safe. But with reloading, okay, there's a ton of things that can go wrong, okay? It's not just 3 safety rules when it comes to reloading. There's a lot of things that you gotta be aware of, and it really helps if you got somebody that will go through the process with you, not just once or twice, but several times, so that it starts sticking in your head, okay? So, there it is. Drop some comments. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll talk to you all soon.